Hi, this is Sean with Mortgage Audits Online. Going over a report. This is an actual live report that was done on a commercial property. I know we get requests sometimes for commercial loan properties, and also people asking for a review or a presentation on one. So I decided to do this video for you guys so you can see an actual live one. Obviously, the information is going to be blurred for privacy. However, this is a live report on a commercial property. Some very interesting findings. Now, please keep in mind, depending on what you order, there are different types of reports. Okay, we have different levels and tiers. This is going to be a full-blown securitization audit. It's going to be obviously a more premium audit package offering. However, this is going to have the screenshots and the main information. Okay, just a disclaimer. My name is Sean, and I am a presenter of this information. This video presentation is for educational purposes. Okay, so let's just go through here. This is the report here. This was done on a commercial property. Okay. Here are the different companies and financial institutions involved. Obviously, this is one of the important aspects of our reports. And if you watch our other videos, obviously that's one of the important aspects of showing the transaction participants. And this one actually has multiple transaction participants, as you can see here, and multiple different financial companies. This is a very high balanced commercial loan. Okay, if it's over $1 million. Um, and so you have the different parties involved here. Okay, as you can see here. Of course, obviously the reports sometimes include the documentation and showing basically this particular example. This particular lender was actually saying, in a sense, that we intend to sell it. However, that information, in a sense, is being used against them, in a sense. So that's one of the important aspects of our auditing team, right? That's one of the reasons why people like our reports, is because little nuances like that, especially with the way that he conducts his audit in our team. You have an expert eye looking at the different nuances and actually using the information from their own bylaws, from their own perspectives against them, which is very important, okay? Because a securitization audit is not only just showing, okay, here it was sold to, here are different transaction parties, here is the chain of title, here is the monetization as overall value. It's showing little nuances of, okay, well, what did they write in their own bylaws? What did they, the financial companies or the different financial companies involved here, in their perspectives, that's being used against them to put pressure on them to try to get the situation resolved? A securitization audit is an all-encompassing audit, okay? And that's one of the main emphasis I would like to get across in this video. It's a lot of different things added in there, because you have to remember these are used in a legal capacity. So when people are negotiating, or different attorneys are negotiating, or you have pro se litigants, all these little pieces of information help to get that goal for the client. Obviously, we want the client to have a positive outcome. So again, you see in this page here, you see actually the letter that's saying, in a sense, okay, that it's being sold to this trust, and here are the different parties involved. Here's the master servicer. And this what was interesting, because it was actually mentioning a different trust, and it was saying that this trust is a lender, and then another trust was found. So this was actually a very interesting file. But one of the important things to note in this file is that in this letter from the actual lender, it's actually telling you that the securitization trust, okay, the certificate holders, more securities corp dash 20 17, obviously I can't mention the exact trust, but 2017 dash 555. It's saying it's the lender in this letter, so it's telling you that this trust is now the lender. Okay, and that's something that obviously in negotiation tactics can be used in a sense. Well, it's like, well, who's the lender? Who actually loaned the money here? Is it the lender or is it the trust? And why is the lender mentioning that the trust is now the lender? See, that's something that you have to ask yourself. What is going on here? Okay. Obviously, there's something is going on here, and that's why an audit needs to be done. Okay. And but that's a very important note. Just please keep that in mind as we move forward here. And going here, securitization participants. One of the things to note, and this is important, when you're looking at our audits in this format, you're looking at it from left to right. So basically, when you see the original lender, it's going from original lender to guarantor to depositor, and then right down to the master servicer. So you have an arrow pointing down, imaginary arrow, and then it goes from master servicer to trustee to issuing entity. Okay. So please keep that in mind moving forward. This is a little note there for you guys. So this basically shows you the securitization participants, who's involved in the securitization, okay, as a whole, different parties involved, things of that nature, okay? So this is what you're seeing here, okay? So obviously you have, the federal home loan, mentioned here. You have the different bank mentioned here. Okay, obviously there's another important entity mentioned here. You have the trustee, and then you have the issuing entity, okay? Custodian and the cutoff date and issue date. Now, this particular file had an issue regarding the assignment, which is the auditor keyed in on, okay? So this particular one, according to their own bylaws, it's their own prospectus. It's saying that an assignment needs to be filed, okay, in order for a foreclosure, in a sense, an enforcement to take place. And in this particular one, there was no assignment filed before the cutoff date, okay? So any assignment filed after that, now it's like, okay, procedural error has been uncovered. Now what, right? That's the thing. So now if they go file an assignment after the fact, then that's an issue. Okay, obviously that's an issue because you can't do that. Okay, that's obviously a procedural violation. Okay. Now in my career, I have seen assignments filed 10 years, almost 10 years after a loan was funded. Okay, and it was very concerning. It was actually very concerning. Okay, so obviously those are things that are brought up, and that's why the audit is important, because these are the issues that are brought up in these type of situations. Okay. And these are some excerpts from the prospectus. Here it's showing you the prospectus and also a visual map. Obviously you're not going to get this on every single file. However, this is one of those things where it's being extracted from the prospectus and putting in the report. So you can see, and you can see here by region, basically how many loans they're securitizing, okay? And so basically this trust is worth about $300 million. Again, that's $300 million, okay? So going over here, showing the different aspects of it, okay? And this is basically giving you excerpts of the prospectus, okay, with the yellow and highlighted areas to give you the keyed in information, okay? And it's mentioning the bank in there as well. And as we move along and scroll down here, showing you the different information. So here, basically, it's highlighting the cutoff date again. This is because the auditor was keying in on the fact that they did not file an assignment within the proper time, because this was actually, this one here, they didn't file an assignment, the bank, the lender, or the trust. So there was no assignment filed. Okay, so it's a procedural issue. Okay, very major procedural issue in our opinion, right? Because in their own bylaws, as you see here, it's going to say that. Okay, and also without recourse is a very important note in this particular file, which I will go through here in a second. Okay, so basically here it's just saying you things about transferring, things of that nature. Okay. This here is referring to the certificate holders, the investors. It's just a good note to have in there. One of those good things to bring up, things of that nature. Now, here's an important part. Now, the assignment of the underlying mortgage loan. Now, this is the area where the auditor was keying in on in the prospectus. Obviously, the full prospectus, they're 200 to 300 pages long, right? Some of them are very lengthy. So it's important to have an auditor look at it and give you those highlighted pieces of information, because when these are negotiated, right, in a legal capacity, right? So, obviously, the highlighted pieces of information, what's important? What are the main points? And that's one of the reasons why the audits are important, and highlighting those pieces of information from the prospectus, because it's not just a securitization audit showing you where it was sold, things of that nature. It's also actually mentioning excerpts from the trust and mentioning it and using that as leverage against the other side, trying to get the situation resolved. Now, this here, it's saying basically, okay, that on or before the closing date, the mortgage loan seller will transfer the mortgage, okay? We'll transfer the underlying mortgages to the trustee. The trustee will hold the underlying mortgages for the benefit of the certificate holders. The certificate holders are the investors, okay, in this company. In each case, the transfer will assign the underlying mortgage loans without recourse to the transferee, meaning that they can't come back. Okay, it's without recourse. Okay, in connection with these transfers on the closing date. So this is their own bylaws. This is their own prospectus. This means that the loans have to go in there before the cutoff date, before the closing date, which was the August date that you saw earlier. So in this case, you see there was no assignment, there was no proper record of it. So in a sense, the report is saying that they did not follow their own bylaws. They did not follow their own prospectus in this situation, okay? Not only that, does the note have, without recourse, does it have that stamp on there? Because it's supposed to. The commercial note is supposed to have that stamp on there according to their own bylaws, according to this prospectus, okay? And that was an issue with this file, okay? So if you look on your mortgage note, you're going to see maybe an allonge, or you're going to see pay to the order of without recourse, right? Well, that's why you have that there, because you have verbiage like this that connects to that, okay? The note itself is very important, because when they foreclose, they're foreclosing on the note. The note is actually the document that is the money right there, right? So that's why they put the pay to the order of on there. Okay, that's a very important point. That's one of those things that I would write down if you're taking notes on this video. Okay, and you see right here, without recourse to the transferee. Okay, so again, that's one of those issues where, look, they can't come back. So that means that they cannot come back and file an assignment later on without recourse. So in this case, right, when someone brings up to them, look, you made this mistake, which is a major procedural error. Now, okay, they go and file an assignment. Well, it's you're violating your own prospectus, your own bylaws. You're violating your own contract in a sense, okay? And that's one of the issues on this particular file. It's a very major issue here, okay? And here, again, you see number one, the original promissory note endorsed without recourse, representation, or warranty. See, either, it says it right here. So that means that the note itself, does it have an endorsement? Does it say in there, pay to the order without recourse? See, that was an issue with this file. See, that's the one of the things you want to check. Now, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, and you're watching this video, go look at your mortgage note. Now, I'm not talking about your mortgage or your deed of trust. I mean your note. Now, the note typically is about 2 to 3 pages long, sometimes 4 or 5 pages, sometimes an allonge. Go look on it. Go see if it has an min number at the top, very important. And after, now going back to this, see if it has a stamp at the end of it. Sometimes I've seen notes that have multiple stamps, endorsed without recourse, paid to the order of, okay, without recourse. So that's one thing you want to check, and then go Google those companies that are on there. So it'll say pay to the order of without recourse to Wonder Bank. Well, go Google that and see if there's a connection between your bank and Wonder Bank. I have to use fictional names in this example, but you know what I mean. So that's a very important thing to consider here. Okay. Here it's saying an original or a copy of the assignment of the related mortgage instrument in favor of the trustee or in blank, and recorded for except for any missing recorded information relating to that mortgage instrument. So now it's saying that the mortgage is an instrument. This is another thing relating to the assignment, okay, and how it relates to the mortgage, the instruments, things of that nature. Of course, we already got them on the fact that there's no assignment and there's no without recourse, meaning you can't go back and file another assignment. That's major. Also, in this case, I believe this is also this case was a REMIC trust. So REMIC trust, a securitization trust, okay? Like when you're doing your own research and you see like a trust that has, certificate holders 2001-5555, Wonder Bank, I have to use fictional names. That trust, some of them will have a REMIC tax status. So meaning that they have tax breaks from the IRS, okay? So if they have these big tax breaks, they have to follow REMIC procedures. Following REMIC procedures relate to properly operating your trust, properly operating the transfers of the loans in the trust, doing proper procedure, because in order for them to maintain a REMIC, R-E-M-I-C, REMIC tax status, it's a privilege, right? To get the millions of dollars of tax breaks that they're getting, they have to properly manage the trust. Now, this is obviously showing you that there's a mismanagement here, right, with this particular example. Now, this is not a small loan. This is $1 million loan, okay? So in a sense, this can be brought up to them. It can be brought up. And can it lead to something else? Can it lead to opening the book? See, that's one of the questions you have to ask yourself. What is this going to lead to? And you kind of have to get in their mind a little bit. So, they obviously don't want to open their books up, right? Who does, right? Who wants to have an audit done on their books by any financial institution, especially the IRS. So it puts pressure on them to get the situation resolved, and that's very important. I remember years ago in my career, we were working on a file, and I was talking to the auditor, and the auditor was telling me about that file that this was a different auditor, but he was telling me about this one. This one has a REMIC tax status issue, and they didn't have a proper trusted and properly is not properly doing the procedures that to maintain the REMIC tax status. you know, even for one loan. I mean, you still have to follow proper procedures, right? Even for one loan. So that, in a sense, the point is that that right there helps to put pressure to try to see if this report helps. Obviously, it does help to put pressure on them to try to get the situation resolved in whatever situation, you know, they're in. And so a lot of these are different points relating to that. You can pause the video and please read those as well. Because this is a commercial loan, you get more of the UCC in there. So this is basically saying things related to the UCC and the financing statements, things of that nature that they have to provide to the consumer. That's just bringing that up here with their things related to the UCC. And then basically here it's saying that something relating to the proper record keeping. Okay, and this is going a little further into that whole overall argument against the assignment, things of that nature relating to the assignments, recorded loan documents, things of that nature. Again, if you want to pause the video and read some of this information, is very good information. Obviously, I'm just going over the main points here, but again, very important. Okay. This is basically, in a sense, the chain of title section relating to this loan. And again, it's telling you that there's no assignment of mortgage to that particular trust. Okay. So this was basically, in a sense, the assignment was having an issue here. There was no proper assignment, and it's giving you the different the players involved again. Okay, and just reiterating that. Here is the report summary. Okay. And here basically the examiner is just giving a recommendation. Examiner recommends immediate production of documents or proceed only to be reinstituted pending production and review of purchase documents, bill of sale, agreements, verified proof of funds, those type of things. And again, that's something that puts them on the offensive, you know, defensive, and saying, look, where's your accounting journal? Where are your entries? Where are your receipts for transfer taxes? Things like that. Okay. So again, this is an issue of procedure. This is an issue of, you know, this large loan being securitized, being sold, transferred around, and there's obviously some procedural issues here that needs to be brought up before anything moves forward. Again, so that's the strategy, right? That's one of the tactics used, okay? And just going here, it's going through some of the screenshots, the summary before it shows you the screenshots, okay? And then obviously we're going into the screenshots area here. Now this one here is interesting because you can see the overall balance of this particular securitization trust, okay? And it's going down, okay? As you see here, it was about 100 and almost 170,000, and now it's about 126,000, okay? And so basically that indicates that it could be not performing. The loans are probably being reduced, okay? So that's an issue that can also be brought up, so that it could be possible that there's issues relating to this particular trust, okay? So that's, again, something that they'd have to address, okay? So let's keep that in mind as we move forward here. Security descriptions, again, just showing you different balances. This is technical information. Obviously, this is stuff that is technical and used, and obviously in some aspects of negotiation, obviously the CUSIP number is going to be there, the master CUSIP number there at the top. That one there you see at the top, that's the CUSIP number, okay? Here are the notes. And then this is an interesting screen. Obviously, it's telling you, showing you the lead managers, the co-managers, the master, the sub, the special, the paying agent, the trustee, all the different financial institutions related to the securitization of this particular securitization trust. Okay, that's important information as well. Ratings history, you know, it will have that in there usually. This is a CUSIP number, again, just going a little more in depth with the CUSIP number. And then obviously going on this particular website here, it's showing you that the securitization trust, this particular trust, is still active and being traded. So technically it's a bond, okay? So as you know, with the arguments, once a loan is securitized, okay, basically is converted into a security, okay? And that securitization, once it's in a bond, now the securitization trust as a whole is a bond, and so they're making money, okay, on the bond. So they're making money on the securitization, the interest front end, the back end interest, the dividends, the investors investing into it, and also the securitization as a bond is also making money. Okay, so that just shows you right here, and you see right here it says bond. Okay, so there's your double, triple dipping in a sense. Okay, usually it's double dipping. Now we see triple dipping along those lines. So that obviously is very important to bring up. Okay, and that's very, very important as well. Here you're going to see the graphs. If you want to pause and look at this, it's showing you in visual form, obviously how the note is being transferred around, how the note was split from the deed, how the note was sold and transferred in the different companies involved here. Okay, very important information. And then you see some more summaries here, okay, of the securitization and things of that nature. If you want to pause and read it, please, you can do that as well. And then this is basically showing you a transaction history. Okay. This is from the title. This is like the title history of that as well. A quick thing to note for this particular report is on the actual, on the letter, when I was mentioning earlier, it was saying that basically that they wanted to sell it to a specific trust, but actually it was sold to another trust. So anytime you have a letter and you have the without recourse in the prospectus, in the bylaws, in their own contracts, basically what happens is, according to procedure, is when they say, okay, we're going to sell it to, let's say, trust AFB, and in fact it's sold and it's sold to another trust, okay? In a sense, the trust that it's naming in the letter technically has to assign it to the trust. So there has to be some type of assignment or record that it's transferring it to another trust. In this case, that wasn't the procedure. That didn't happen. So there's issues of that. Again, that goes along the lines of the assignment, but that goes a little further because, when they're naming certain things on the letters and they're saying certain things like the trust is a lender, or, we're going to sell it to this particular company, but in a sense, they sell it to a different company and there's a different trust. Now, what happens is there's this whole question as to who can enforce it, because the assignments are not done properly, especially if they're in their own bylaws, in their own prospectus. They're saying that without recourse, and the note has to have a proper endorsement. So when those things are not there, then there's just a question as to enforceability, as to procedure, as to the assignments, as to who's assigning what here. It's just almost like it's just done in a sense where it's like it's just being assigned and there's no proper procedure. It's like, oh, we're going to sell it here, we're going to sell it there, and that's not. And there's has to be proper procedure. And the question has to be asked, well, why is it being done this way? What is being hidden? What is going on here? And that is why it's important to have a full securitization audit done, even on a commercial loan audit, because these are points that can be brought up. And, they obviously don't want to open their books. These type of things can result in, an investigation or, violation of their REMIC tax status. Or, why is the proper procedure not being followed here? What is actually going on? Where is the money? So these are all important questions that a client or a consumer needs to ask, and you as a viewer just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, because obviously with a securitization audit there are the main items there, right? The securitization, the transfer, that's all great, but see, we go a little further, and those little nuances where we're actually looking at the prospectus, we're actually, he is going and the team is going and finding these little nuances that actually can end up in something major here, So this is all, encompassing in an audit. All these little things help. All these little things add up, right? They say the little things add up, right? So that's something that you have to consider whenever you're considering getting an audit. It's very important to get an audit done. It's very, especially if you have a commercial loan. And really, it's written in a way, where it's hopefully the client has a positive outcome. We have great feedback, so just keep that in mind. The report is a major tool to use as part of a larger legal package to put pressure on the other side, to put pressure on them to get the situation resolved in a positive outcome for the client. That's the ideal outcome for us. And in our opinion, that's what we're trying to do. So I thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment and send us a question via email or set up a free consultation with us. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.